This is Mirabella's kitchen, and today I'm making Italian bread. I start by taking half a cup of warm water and adding it into a bowl. I take half a teaspoon of sugar and dissolve it in the water. I take 2 packets of instant yeast and add it to the sugar water. That comes out to 2.5 tablespoons. I set that aside, and then I start another bowl with 3 tablespoons of sugar, 1 tablespoon of coarse kosher salt, 2 cups of hot water from the sink, half a cup of olive oil, and 3 cups of all-purpose flour. I mix that all together until it's nice and incorporated. It's going to be pretty runny still at this point. Next, I add the yeast mixture, making sure to scrape the sides of the bowl to grab everything. And now it's even runnier. But mix it all together so it's nice and homogeneous, and spill a bunch down the side. And now I add 2 more cups of all-purpose flour. And I mix that all together, taking care to get all the flour incorporated, all the flour off the edges of the bowl, and it's going to create a very sticky dough. I cover it with a clean dish towel and let the dough rise for 1 hour. After an hour, it's pretty rounded under the dish towel and it's very bouncy. I flour my work surface generously. And I pour the dough out onto the counter using a spatula to disconnect the stickiness from the sides of the bowl. I take maybe a minute or 2 to try to knead the dough. And I spent a lot of time fighting with it to roll it out and get it into the shape I wanted. It's very sticky, sticking to the rolling pin, sticking to the counter. I used a lot of flour to try to help with that. And I spent a lot of time fighting it, but essentially I want to roll it into an oval shape and then roll it into itself into a little loaf. But it's very sticky and sticking to the counter still, so it looks kind of ugly, but that's okay. I take a 11 by 7 inch baking dish and line it with some parchment paper, add a little flour to the bottom, and then I use a bench scraper to make it into a more compact loaf while I grab it and put it into the baking dish. Just plop it in there. I then use the bench scraper to put 3 slits in the top. You can also use a knife, but it's super sticky and sticking to everything. I cover it with a dish towel and let that rise again for 30 more minutes. And I take an egg, or you can just take egg whites, and I whisk that to create the egg wash that I'm going to coat it in. So it's risen a bit again after 30 more minutes. I coat it with the egg wash to give it some nice color while it's baking. And I put it into a preheated oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 minutes. When I take it out of the oven, I check the top to make sure it's firm and still not pretty, caving in, so I know it's not super doughy inside, it's cooked through. And I use a butter knife to separate the edge of the bread from the baking dish, because I want to remove it from the baking dish to let it cool faster when it's not in the hot vessel that it has been baking in. And I fight with the parchment paper. I fight. It wants to stay in the baking dish. I dump it out. That's Italian bread. Look at that cross section. It's by no means traditional Italian bread, but it's really good. It has a nice olive flavor, a nice nuttiness to it, I guess. That's how I would describe it. And it just tastes great. Thanks for joining me today. I make new videos on cooking every Wednesday. Please support me on Patreon and on Facebook at Mirabella's Kitchen.